Welcome, everybody, to our weekly series, Wisdom in Action, our Thursday talk. And we're just wanting to welcome everybody that is joining in person and live at the center in Manhattan, as well as everybody on YouTube and Facebook Live. So thank you for joining us today. So we just wanted to remind everybody that we do have lots of workshops and sessions coming up within the next couple of weeks. So please check out the website so that you can actually be updated on the latest and the greatest. And also, just wanted to mention that there is a workshop that is going to be coming up shortly. And the title of it is The Future is Now. So if you'd like to join us for that workshop, please feel free to sign up. And then there's also a special program next Thursday as well, which is Peering into the Depths of an Angelic Mind. So those are two great programs that are coming up. So if you are able to join us. So today we have this amazing talk on interior designing and how we're going to be using our thoughts to be able to design our own life. So I'm going to go ahead and shift this over to the center and enjoy the program.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening, sister.
Oh, Shanti.
So the sound is okay? The visuals are okay?
Yes.
And best wishes for 2024 for those who we are seeing meeting for the first time again since this new January. We are having to get used to writing 2024. We just got used to 2023. Okay, today's topic is on interior redesigning, interior designing, but a spiritual perspective on interior designing. And so, but before we get into the subject, maybe we can have a few moments of silence. And I'll speak a few words and just try to hold that in your mind. Just follow it, but gently. As we keep the body relaxed. And let the breathing be natural. Inhale and exhale. And we create this conscious awareness that there is a physical dimension, but there is also an invisible and non-physical dimension. No, we can see things and objects and people, and there is this whole world that is visible and tangible and apparent to our senses. But there is also an invisible dimension, the world of our thoughts and feelings and emotions. There is that inner world of tendencies and habits and images and memories. And how I feel and what I experience has to do with what is going on in that invisible mind. And there is huge power and impact of what is going on in the mind. One big area is of thoughts. What kinds of thoughts do I hold in my mind? And if I choose thoughts of peace, that will influence my feelings and my experience. If I choose thoughts of anger, that is how I will feel. That is what my experience will be. If I choose thoughts of compassion for self and for others, those are the patterns that cultivate in the mind. So, what is the landscape of my mind? And is my mind my best friend? Or is my mind my enemy? Let us explore how we can redesign the landscape of our mind. Thank you. In our present world, lots of our time, lots of our attention, lots of our energy goes to try to organize and reorganize or restructure, to fix things around us, to organize, reorganize, structure, fix our body. And most of us are very, very externally oriented, not trying to fix other people. Anybody hasn't tried that? Try to rearrange them. Trying to change them, trying to reorganize your life at an external level, your apartment, redesigning things, maybe wanting a new job, maybe a new relationship, reorganizing your relationships, very much externally oriented all the time. The beauty about spirituality is that it says we are missing a very important factor in our approach to life and our life's experiences. And that is the spiritual factor, the inner factor. And we can very lightly begin to explore that non-physical or that inner dimension by getting more, by giving more attention to our thoughts and to our mind. You know, we are with ourselves 24/7. How do you know that? You have to listen to your own thoughts all the time. You know, if you are with someone and that person chattering all the time, chatting, talking whatever, at some stage you say, be quiet now. You want to be away from them. But we have our companion, our own mind. What is it saying all the time? What is it producing all the time? And so when we begin to even think about some interior redesigning, wanting to create some lightness inside, we can begin to look at our thoughts. There are other areas and other things too, but one big area is our thoughts. You know how many thoughts you had today till now? From this morning to now? Thousands. Thousands, easily 40, 50, 60,000 thoughts. But one thing is the amount of thoughts, the quantity of thoughts. But what was the quality of those thousands of thoughts? Anyone want to say? If you had to draw your mind today, what was going on, how would you draw it? Someone is doing here like this. Now, what is very useful to understand is that your thoughts are like the seeds of your feelings and your emotions. So if your thoughts are like this, then how are your feelings and your emotions? Same also. like this. Your thoughts are also the seeds of your words. So if our thoughts are like this, then what is coming out of our mouth? Also, not necessarily too sensible and wise all the time. Now, our thoughts are also the seeds of our actions and our behavior. So, if our thoughts are like this, how are our actions and our behavior? And you can see a lot of that in New York City on Fifth Avenue. All the expressions of the inner world of people. Right? If your thoughts are like this, your thoughts is also the seed of your attitude. Not necessarily, it is connected. No, your certain thoughts and certain thought patterns lead to certain attitudes, certain behavior patterns. And so, how much attention do we pay to our thoughts? Now, at an external level, physical level, we always you make sure the looks are there. No, you watch in the mirror, you dress appropriately every day. You make sure that externally you look decent. How much time do we take to check if our inner world is clean, is presentable, at least to ourselves? Now, of those thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of thoughts that we had just today, how many of those thoughts were brought into a constructive action? Anyone want to say? Yeah,
Very
so you
few of
came
our
here. That
thoughts.
was one thought. Very good. You had the thought to come to the meditation center and you came. And those on Zoom, you had the thought to connect on Zoom and you did. Okay, that was one thought.
Very
Of
few of
those
our
thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of thoughts. So, how many thoughts would you need to have done what you did today? Not thousands and thousands of thousands and thousands of things. If it was much, we would say 100. 100. So those 100 thoughts were useful thoughts because whatever you thought, you did. It was the seed of an action. It was the beginning of an action. Okay. So what were all those other thoughts about? To eat clean food. Okay, that is a good thought. There's one.
I
100
think also a lot of repetition, repeated thoughts.
Very good. Lots of thoughts are repetitive thoughts, same thoughts again and again and again and again and again, same person again and again and again, same situation again and again and again. So, how will you call that? How
It's
would
a
you
waste.
repetitive thinking? Yeah, one way to look at that is waste. Your thoughts are your mental energy. Your thoughts are your mental power. To think the same thing over and over and over and over again, you're wasting your mental energy. And you're, even if you did act on it, you just needed one thought, but you have 1,000 thoughts of that same thing. So it was still a waste of energy. Now, what happens when you waste energy?
Can't move forward.
Can't move forward. What else? You get tired. That's first sign. What else? When you waste your energy, what happens? You get tired, is one thing. You get stressed, but also you get weak. And because you're wasting your energy, you get weaker. And if you consistently repetitively wasting your energy, even physically, your muscles atrophy. So what are we doing with our mind? What are we doing to ourselves by having all these cyclical, useless thoughts all the time? We're hurting ourselves. Is anybody doing this to us? No, we are doing this to ourselves. Now, interior redesigning is about consciously choosing to not have all these cyclical, repetitive thoughts that are useless and that are draining and that are, that are wasting my mental energy. You're creating an inner world where you choose thoughts that are empowering, thoughts that are of appreciation, thoughts that are of patience, thoughts that are of peace, whatever. You choose your area of thinking. Then you are redesigning the landscape inside. Now, if you have thoughts of peace, how will you feel? Relaxed. So even body will benefit from that. Even other people will benefit from that. If you have thoughts of anger or criticism, how would you feel? Aggressive? Who benefits from that? No one. Not me, not anybody else either. So this interior redesigning means you begin to consciously become aware that you are creator of thoughts. And even thoughts that seem to pop up, it is your choice to keep them there or not, to linger on them or not. So we need to be more clear. What kind of thoughts are useful for me to have? What kind of thoughts create an inner environment, an inner atmosphere that is of lightness, that is of clarity, that is of compassion, that is of respect for self. Let's go over to the board and I'll draw a few things so might help. Let's see. Is the board visible properly?
Yes.
Okay. So generally, if we draw a simplified sketch of ourselves and of how we position ourselves, of how our life is, then in the center, there is the self, me. And then our surrounding life is an interaction between me and the environment. So the first environment we encounter is the body. So part of life is the interaction that I, the being of consciousness, have with the body. How do I use the body, how I interact with the body? Life is an interaction between me and others, friends, families, boss, work, whatever. Interaction, maybe job, interaction. There are many things in this world. So life is the interaction between me and our environment. Now, many times it can be that, for example, our money or our social activities, all kinds of things, your culture, religion. What we experience as our life is this interaction between me and the environment. And when we don't like a certain thing, or we don't like something or a job or a person, what do we do? What do we try to do? If there is a mismatch, what do we try to do? I don't like the job, for example. I don't
Quit.
like people at job.
Quit or look for other one.
Quit or?
Look for another one.
We quit and we look for another job. Now, generally, if you observe yourself, if you observe life, if you observe people around, generally, when there is a mismatch, somehow, we try to change the environment. You quit the job, look for another job. You don't like the boss, you hope to get another boss. Or you work towards getting a different boss. If you don't like the social context you are in, friends, family, you change, you move somewhere else. You don't like the country, you go to another country. You don't like the, what is it? The religion, you change the religion. You don't like the husband, what you do? Change the husband.
Divorce.
This is our mental state. No? Something is not like some mismatch, we change that. We change them. But there are two sides to this arrow. That side and this side. So I can change this, but I can also change this. If there is a mismatch. Now, this is what interior redesigning is all about. You begin to look at yourself instead of looking outside all the time. Job, some mismatches there, we blame the job. Some mismatches there, we blame the husband. Some mismatches there, you blame the country. Some mismatches there, you blame the bank. Whatever. We have generated this habit of blame and looking outside. Now, when we look inside, it's not that you look inside your stomach or your liver. That is body. But looking inside means looking inside operation of your psyche, your consciousness. And what is there when I look inside? What is there when I look into the being that is me? So one aspect, one faculty of the being is the mind. And one of the things that the mind does, it is thoughts come into the mind. Thoughts are generated. So if I want to redesign this mind, this is a big area to look at. What are my thought patterns? What are my belief systems and patterns? What are my habits at the level of thoughts, at least? And these repetitive cyclical thoughts, like Sonia was saying, these are just habits. To think over and over and over again about the same thing, never come to a proper solution either. And by thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking about it, can you come to a solution? No, you just get tired and weak. So clarity actually diminishes. And these thoughts, as we said, they lead to certain feelings, and thought patterns lead to certain emotions. Thought thoughts lead to certain words, actions, attitude, certain vision. But also our thoughts create vibrations and a certain atmosphere, inner atmosphere that radiates outside. You know, sometimes, I'm not sure you have seen or experienced, certain people, if you're in their company, you always get a headache. Certain atmosphere you're in, you may be in a state of peace, but you are influenced and then you lose your clarity. And sometimes it happens that you are very, content maybe, and people come in touch with you and they also calm down. They also become cheerful. They also become happy. Now, we all carry with us a certain atmosphere that we create. What is it called? A certain vibe that we create. Now, what is the basis of that vibe? What is the basis of that vibration and that atmosphere that we generate? The energy that we carry. It is this, what is going on in our mind. And maybe we have let this mind run loose for a very long time. We haven't given it proper guidance. And if it doesn't get guidance, then what happens? Our thoughts just go all over the place. Our thoughts are triggered by anything what happens around us. And our thoughts are triggered by memories of things that happened in the past. So some situation was there, some yesterday or this morning, and that situation triggers thoughts in my mind again and again and again, or something I see, or something I smell, or something I hear. Thoughts are go. So this mind is like a a yo-yo. It just goes whatever happened in the past or whatever is at here now, mind goes all over the place. And this mind is very precious But if we don't give it, if we don't guide it, if we don't consciously choose a better quality of this mind will get exhausted, this mind will get stressed out. And this mind is part of you, your inner world. Now, what can we do to create a vibe of lightness and of peace in the mind?
Choose positive thoughts.
Use positive thoughts. Very good. Any other ideas?
Put a stop when we realize that we are having negative thought and repetitive thoughts.
Very good. Both answers are good. You choose constantly to have constructive thoughts, consciously to have a constructive thoughts, to have positive thought, or maybe even elevated thoughts, maybe even noble thoughts. And you choose to stop these cyclical thoughts, these heavy thoughts, these negative thoughts, but we need to recognize it. And for that, we need another function that is also part of the psyche. And that function is called the intellect. The intellect is our power to discern, our power to analyze, our power to decide. So the intellect is the wisdom that we have inside. And the wisdom also to choose for what to put in your mind, what not to put in your mind. A simple, what is it, metaphor for your mind is like a suitcase. Traveling is done best when you travel light, isn't it? But sometimes you see yourself or you see others carrying this huge suitcase and 5 other bags, one on the shoulder, one on the back, one on the other hand, another hand, and the suitcase. So many bags we have. But even in those bags, what is there that we truly use? Many ladies, but anybody, we have these handbags. No? How much that is in the handbag do we really use? We don't even need to go to the handbags, but your, what is it, your purse, wallet, how much that is in your wallet you truly use and need. So we're carrying all that weight around. Sometimes my friends tell me, show me how heavy is my bag, how heavy, it is so heavy. So why are you carrying all those things around? So your mind is also like a bag or a wallet. How much do you put in there and you carry it around all over the place? How much is needed? How much is useful? Truly. And when you think about interior design, much of design is also, it is not only about what is useful and what is practical, that also, but also what is beautiful. So when you redesign your inner world and your mind, okay, what is useful, what is practical to keep in there, but also what is beautiful. How would you define beauty? How would you define a beautiful mind?
When it is calm.
Sorry?
When it is calm.
When it is calm, something that is calm and serene. Okay, very nice.
One that thinks of others.
Means like in the terms of compassion.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. A mind that is considerate of others and the feelings of others. Very good. So a mind that is not me, I, my all the time.
Mind that has positive thoughts and helping others and feelings of gratitude and all other positive good high feelings.
Very good. So how beautiful is your mind?
Mind that is content.
Mind that is content. Yeah. And you know, one extra dimension, if we're talking about refined thoughts or elevated thoughts, an extra dimension to that is when you can hold those positive thoughts or virtuous thoughts even under provocation. You know, we just celebrated Christmas. Are we, those who are from the Christian background, but in society also? And one thing that is remembered with Christmas is the birth of Jesus. Jesus, the prophet and Christ's soul, the prophet souls of Christianity. Now, how come that one is remembered 2000 years after? What was there that was so beautiful and so powerful that it is still remembered, even in a distorted way, in many cases, in sense of it has become very commercialized. But still, what is it that was there, that was so beautiful and so powerful, that it is still remembered 2000 years later? It still touches people's lives and touches people's heart.
To forgive others?
Yeah, feelings of love, feelings of forgiveness.
He was
Even your
always
enemy,
trying to help.
even your enemy,
Yes.
and those who try to kill you, he still loved. This is just one example, but a beautiful mind would be a mind who is able to give, who is able to be virtuous, who is able to love, even under provocation. Can we generate such thoughts? And we probably cannot, some of us, or maybe many of us, or maybe all of us. But we can surely aspire to work towards that. Because this is our potential. And with the beauty of interior design, you can make of it whatever you want. You can take out all the rubbish. You can take out all the old things and you put in new things. So make your mind a place where you experiment. And you don't experiment in the big way in terms of I never ever going to have any single waste thoughts anymore. But you can say, okay, next hour, let me aim to see beauty in self and beauty in others. Today, I'm going to use maybe even elevated thoughts and spiritual thoughts. See the self as a spiritual being who is timeless, using this body. Seeing the self as a being who is innately divine in nature, a soul. and begin to see that potential in others too, and generate those thoughts. Reflect on that. There is deeper, higher nature within all of us. Let me nurture that. Just for an hour. If not for an hour, half an hour. If not half an hour, 10 minutes. If not 10 minutes, 1 minute. 1 minute, surely we can. And so 1 minute, you spread that vibe for yourself and for others. And you start a trend inside here. Possible? Now, what would the world be like if you and me and people around us, we all take one day and say, today we're only going to choose beautiful thoughts? How will the world be like if one day we all did that? And we set a new trend. But it begins by redesigning inside. Okay, not the whole world will do, but you can do. And through you can inspire some others around. Mm. Undermines. So Mukta here is saying she feels it is hard because you have to understand the ego within also. But we might not fully understand, but we know there is this lower nature within us also, this undermining tendencies, because this mind, for many of us, might be filled with all kinds of tendencies to create stressful thoughts, to create thoughts of criticism, to create thoughts of anger or irritation. This mind might be programmed at the moment. So you have to come out of that. But it starts with one thought, 1 second. It starts with a certain, maybe what is the word? Adventurous nature to explore. Okay, I already know all of this junk sitting there. Let's throw out some and put in some new. Let's see what happens. Explore. Because what was put in there can be taken out. And if something was taken out, means something else can be put in there. And I agree, we have maybe a whole bulk of some old tendencies and ego sitting there wanting to stay in charge of your mind. But you can see you are not useful. What you do when there is a tough stain somewhere in your house, there is some tough stain. See on the carpet, there's a tough stain that doesn't come out. You scrub it and you throw some Clorox or whatever until it gets out. So same, some stains may be there, but you stay with it. Some extra time, some extra attention, some extra input. Well, redesigning or designing of a place and reconstruction, energy has to go in. No? If you don't put in energy, nothing, it will stay the same and more of the same, and it will become old and fester cockroaches and rats, ultimately it will just become more and more deteriorated. But if you want to shift things around, you need to pay some attention. You need to give it some extra energy. Same here. You want to get cockroaches and rats and cats and all kinds of insects in here? We don't want it to grow stale and old. And these are simple, basic practices, but begin to observe your mind and the quality of your thoughts. Yeah. Yeah. Can you, one moment, can you just share through the mic?
Yeah, I was just saying sometimes the ego gives permission to keep that cycle going because if you have an external stimulus, for example, that's provoking something and it's that external stimulus you cannot get away from,
No.
then sometimes you can say, well, of course I'm thinking negatively. I can't get away from this or that situation. And then, yeah, let's say it's your family member. You really can't.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then that's a struggle, I think. How do you, like, if you have a bowl, I think there was this analogy before, you have a bowl of oil or a bowl of dirty water or something, and you pour one drop of milk in there, you keep pouring the drop of milk, and then eventually that whole bowl will become milk. There won't be the dirty water anymore. But what if the dirty water is going in at the same time as the milk?
Yeah. No, but
Then,
that is why Sonia was saying you have to stop the old also. You have to pour in the new, but you have to take out the old and stop pouring in the old. We need to work at both levels. So you have to recognize, this game of recognizing this thought is an old thought. It doesn't have to be like this. I can think differently. And one way that at least helps me is always aim to see things from a bigger picture. Bigger the perspective, more what is closer to truth also. There are always other angles to things. So see from a bigger angle, from a broader perspective. See from the context of eternity. See from the perspective of the moon and see if this thought still makes sense. Many things become petty when we see a bigger perspective. And this is what the function of the intellect is. So this ego brings a certain thought. I hate my boss, whatever. Thought comes, you can't stand boss, you can't stand his face. You don't like to, all kinds of thoughts, and you wish he dropped dead or you wish he got moved. All these thoughts can come. And you can understand what feelings that generates and what vibe that generates. And the vibe others will feel, but you are carrying it around. This is what is going on in your suitcase inside. You're carrying all these thoughts of anger and hate and mistrust and criticism, whatever, inside. To use the intellect and say, I'm just undermining myself.
Yes, because
I'm carrying this, how do you call it? This thunder cloud around with me all the time. And the intellect says, this is useless. Why should I do this to myself?
yes,
And
like
the
you said,
intellect
is
can
that
suggest what other thoughts could I have better? I can think of a certain virtue, I can think of a certain value, I can think of a certain even which is much more neutral, and a situation that is pleasant or a memory that is nice. I can think of God. I can think of myself as an immortal, timeless, virtuous being. I have choice what to think. Use your intellect, use the wisdom to, form the landscape of your mind. Someone wanted to say something?
Just like you said, sister, you when you were having the bad thoughts, for example, about the boss, the person who is getting hurt is ourselves because he doesn't even know that you're thinking bad about him, right? So we are making ourselves more hurting and mad and upset.
Hurting the self. But someone else also was trying to say something. I'm not sure if it was Varsha or who.
I'm good, sister. Yeah.
Now,
Can I make a comment?
go
Can I
ahead.
say? Yeah, so I think you said really something very good about making your mind beautiful, but it requires a lot of effort. I read some place that your mind is like a garden, right? If you don't do anything, something will grow, but it will be mostly weed. Uh, but if you want to plant beautiful flowers, you have to make a lot of effort, clear out all the weeds, plant the seeds, and then give it water, make sure sunshine is there and it care is taken. So similarly, the mind requires a lot of care. If you don't do anything on its autopilot, it usually goes into the negative cycle. So to bring it into the positive mode, beautiful thoughts have to be planted, negatives have to be removed. And what I guess what you were saying kind of resembles what I read some time back in terms of mind being a garden and then the thoughts being the plant or the flowers there.
We also need to become more knowledgeable about what are beautiful thoughts. What is the content of elevated thoughts? What is the content of spiritual thoughts? And this is where it becomes useful to have a spiritual, practice where you familiarize yourself more and more with meditation and the practice of meditation, but also with spiritual laws and concepts and understandings, where you familiarize yourself with a spiritual perspective also, so that your intellect becomes strong, becomes more has an authority on certain deeper truths and certain principles and certain values, where your intellect can use wisdom to guide the mind. Because if the intellect is weak and if there is no wisdom, if there's no clarity, if there's no discernment, then how can the intellect guide the mind? The intellect will just create more mess for the mind. This is why the system that the Brahma Kumaris is offering is a system of study, but not study like you do in school, but study for life. How to see things, what is a different perspective, who are we truly, where have we come from, where are we going, what are the invisible laws and dynamics of life. What is the law of karma, for example? There is a moral dimension to every action we do. Now, how does that play out in our life? We like to demand and expect things and desire things, But actually, the law of karma says it is much more wise to be deserving. Instead of desiring, be deserving, and then things will come to you. So to fill your apron, your intellect with these deeper truths and this higher wisdom, so that this intellect can redesign the landscape of the mind. Yeah, go ahead. I can't read.
This session was definitely for me because my mind is stuck with my past hurt. And these thoughts keep repeating, though I pray. And so is it you have to force yourself to change your thoughts or let them just flow and be done?
No, it's not that we force ourselves, but we talk to ourselves and choose more wisely. Because, of course, there is our past, and many times it's not even our whole past, it is just certain aspects or certain situations from the past. But there are a million things we can think about. We don't need to think only of the past. So to talk to our mind and to guide our mind and to tell our mind, let us try thinking about this. And then you will see, mind, you think about something else, but then it will go back to that past. And so you tell your mind again, but weren't we going to try something new? So you introduce something new to your mind again. A new thought, a different thought, or new hobby or something. But if you really want to do it powerfully and constructively, bring in some spiritual thoughts. And then you will see after a while the mind goes back again because it's habit. But we can change a habit and we can change it and we can create a new habit. So you don't fight or force, but you just be adventurous and you tell your mind, let's try something new. And if we have less waste thoughts, if we have less cyclical thoughts, at the end of the day, how you will feel? You will feel lighter. And depending on the thoughts that you brought in, maybe you will even feel more peaceful also, or more loving. Because instead of thinking about that one thing or that one person or that one situation, you can also think of a person that you like, love, or a situation that you appreciate, or you think about nature, or you think about the setting sun on the horizon when you're watching the ocean. Whatever. Lots of images we can create, that we can think of in our mind. And if more you start to appreciate those new thoughts that you're bringing in, more you start to enjoy them, it becomes easier to not fall back on those destructive thoughts, undermining thoughts, thoughts that rob you of your peace, thoughts that rob you of your harmony, thoughts that rob you of your dignity and your self-respect. Because what happens also if we have negative thoughts or we have destructive thoughts or we have thoughts of waste, we're not proud of ourselves when we do that. We don't feel good about ourselves. But when you have beautiful thoughts, you feel much more proud of yourself. When you have thoughts of gratitude, you feel much more better about yourself also. This is very light and simple, but we don't, it's good to not use the word effort or this is difficult. Let's go on an adventure and explore.
Thank you, sister.
Okay. Time has passed. Time. So maybe we can stop and have some minutes of meditation together. So as always, we keep the body comfortable and let the breathing be regular. And inhale deep and exhale deeply. And just ask the self, how am I using the mind? Mind is like a screen and thoughts pop up, but you have the power to choose your thoughts. You can choose to think of the self. You can choose to learn. You can choose to try and understand the secrets that are hidden in every scene or every interaction. You can choose to see specialities. You can choose to tell the ego that you won't listen anymore to ego. You can choose to explore thoughts that help you understand the pettiness of the ego and the ignorance. And let us choose at this moment the thought to, as if underline and recognize that the true self is a spiritual being, timeless, pure, invisible, living light. And just even maybe hold that image in your mind. Tiny star, pure, serene, free, living light. Timeless, a being of peace. Thank you. So maybe for tomorrow, to what is the thing? To reshape your mind. Take a topic that you want to think about. Take a certain virtue, maybe patience or compassion or serenity, whatever. Take a topic that you like. And during the day, every moment you have free time, you think of that topic that you chose. And when you catch yourself, this is waste thinking, this is useless thinking, you say, stop, let me take my topic and reflect on that. And end of the day, you just, how do you say that? Make up your balance. Just check, how did it go? If you do that one day, power of your mind increases. And the vibe that you generate will be different. The landscape of your mind will have shifted. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.